People here don't know how to get the out the way. Like, they'll just bump into you and they don't give a f.
I think culture shocks are one of the greatest gifts to mankind. Being able to experience other cultures and being absolutely mind blown at how differently these other cultures function in comparison to yours. You learn a lot, right? It expands your mind, you become an entirely different person, and it gives you a huge worldview. You become a lot more conscious, selfless in a lot of cases, and in some cases you learn the hard way. There might be some habits that you're used to doing that in certain cultures just won't fly, so you have to learn how to navigate without the use of those habits. One simple culture shock, for instance, that a lot of Americans run into when they travel throughout Europe and they kind of realize things don't really function the same as in the United States, they should know this already, is small talk, for instance. It's hard to strike up a conversation with random people. It depends on the country within Europe, of course, but for the most part, the unanimous agreement is that it's very difficult to talk to people that you just don't know at all. I mean, people aren't going to really respond to you like they would in the States, have a long, meaningless conversation to just never see that individual again. So that kind of shocks a lot of people. I personally am a sucker for some small talk, but obviously that is a very popular thing throughout Europe. Now, it depends on the country, but I'm pretty sure most countries just don't vibe with that. But this video in particular struck a chord with me. I came across this video and it was an entitled American. Wouldn't say specifically where in Europe, but just decided to use the blanket statement, all Europeans are rude. Now, if you guys have watched enough of my videos, you guys know that when people make statements like this, all of these people are, insert negative connotation here, I think that the person who has made this claim is probably to blame. I should probably drop a mixtape. So this young lady's walking through the city and apparently she's complaining about how tons and tons of Europeans are bumping into her. Now, I don't know exactly which city she's walking through, so I'm not sure if she's making this claim for every single European country she's ever been to, but she did say that almost every single place she's been where she's walking on the street, people are bumping into her. She's always the one to say excuse me or sorry, and she's just had it up to here. And I'm like, okay, some of that might be valid, but if you're saying everywhere you go, other people are bumping into you, this sounds like a you problem. But that's where I wanted to enroll you guys into this for a second opinion, because maybe I'm being too harsh. And the comment section absolutely had a ton to say that clapped back to her complaint, and that's what we're going to be diving into today. So if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. Please, please, please help us hit 1 million subscribers this year by liking the video and subscribing if you haven't already. Let's break this video down, review some of the comments, and I really want to hear from you guys. Was this complaint valid? Or do you think that she did something to cause her discomfort? Of course, before we dive into this, there was a little blurb on our video that we're going to read together and talk about before we actually press play. Why are people in Europe so rude? So many people bumped into me on purpose, cut me off while walking, cut in line, never said excuse me, etc. I said excuse me in 3 languages every time and never once got an excuse me or sorry. Again, I'm a firm believer that she probably did something to cause some of these interactions at the very least, because how is every single person bumping into her? Unless she's invisible or a ghost or something, then there's something clearly wrong here. Right? It doesn't seem right, obviously. There seems like there's more to the story, and I love how when people tell these stories, sometimes they present their story in a way where they did absolutely nothing wrong and everybody's just a big meanie to them. And I'm like, well, if it's every situation or most situations that people are treating you like this, you're probably the problem.
People here don't know how to get the fuck out the way. Like, they'll just bump into you and they don't give a fuck. So I just been walking, not looking where I'm going, bumping into bitches, because bitch, you see me walking. You see Big Mama walking, like. But anyway.
Did she just say she's gonna walk and not pay attention to where she's going and just bump into random people as a result of what she just went through?
So I just been walking, not looking where I'm going, bumping into bitches.
I feel like that makes your situation a lot more complicated. So as we saw there, she's like, okay, I'm sick and tired of people bumping into me everywhere I go, not saying sorry or excuse me or whatever. It seems like when she's walking, she's not paying attention to where she's going if she's bumping into this many people for it to be a problem. Generally speaking, I'm not talking out of my ass. I've traveled to a few countries in Europe, even if it was for a small period of time, and that's never happened to me unless I was in an incredibly crowded area and it wasn't me just bumping into everybody. Other people were bumping into people too. Those were rare cases. That's where cases where streets were super packed and you had nowhere to go and people tried avoiding bumping into people. And this is paying attention, right? Most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, there was no iota or inkling of a reason for people to be bumping into each other. other because you pay attention to where you're walking, okay? So I've been to some really busy cities as well. And again, same thing, pay attention to where you're walking. Get off your phone because I'm pretty sure most of the time people are on their phone head deep into some type of doom scrolling fiasco while they're walking, and they bump into people all the time. This is a common sentiment I've seen from other tourists. I can't say if they were from the United States exclusively or not, but they were definitely tourists in a lot of the places that I've traveled to. And this was a huge thing that I've witnessed myself, boots on the ground. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. They're bumping into families that got strollers and kids and stuff like that, right? They're bumping into sometimes police officers, and they're like, whoa, pay attention. You know what I mean? Get your head out of that phone and make sure you know how to navigate around the people around you. There's not that little street space where you're just bumping into people 24/7. Most of this seems like this is a paying attention issue, but to make your situation worse, you're gonna bump into people because you're not paying attention to where you're going. That's like if somebody love tapped my car while I was driving and I was so tilted, I'm like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of people bumping into my car on the road. I'm not gonna pay attention to where I drive, and I'm gonna just play bumper cars with every single car from now on the highway. I'm walking, not looking where I'm going. That's the reason you are bumping into people, not the other way around, and you seem to be doing it on purpose just to get a reaction. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think sometimes people want to create a negative stereotype, a negative culture shock, if you will, so they have a story to tell when they come back. They're like, oh no, you don't want to go there. The people are rude. But then when you get the full context of their story, they did something to antagonize the people who wound up yelling at them. There's a video that I made very recently that highlights this. There was a lady that went to a grocery store and seemed like she was antagonizing the staff there, and it got to a point where the staff member was yelling at her, right? Obviously, I'm pretty sure she took that story home. Oh my God, my experience in Greece was terrible. You would not believe how rude these people are. And it was a self-induced negative experience. Say it with me now. Self-induced negative experience. There needs to be some type of self-awareness when you travel, because if you're not aware that you're causing your own negative experiences, you will have a plethora of negative stories to tell when you go to these different places. Whenever I have an interaction with someone in any country, I need to make sure that what I'm doing is the norm or acceptable or something. What can I do to mitigate my situation? If someone is yelling at me, what did I do to make them yell at me? And I can move around. I'll give you a very good example. I was in Germany and my dumbass was standing in the bike lane. So do you think I was getting yelled at a lot or not? Yes, I was getting yelled at a lot. And I could have easily been like, oh, all Germans are nasty and rude and disgusting. Oh my God. No, I was standing in the bike lane. I was treating the bike lane like a sidewalk. So I couldn't be surprised that people were yelling at me. I was like, oh, the second I realized that, I hopped out the way, and guess what happened? People stopped yelling at me. It's kind of crazy how that works. So if she's over here saying that people are bumping to her, blah, 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 and she's like, you know what?
Walking, not looking where I'm going, bumping into bitches.
Since people can't stop bumping into me, I'm like, girl, that seems what you've been doing the whole time. The fact that she said Europe tells me everything. She probably thinks Europe's a country, 100,000%. Okay, because I had a hard time figuring out where specifically she was referring to. Where in Europe? It can't be all of Europe. That continent too damn big for you to be bumping into everybody like you a pinball machine. Basic rule of walking in Europe is that everyone gives way a little. If you don't, expect everyone to intentionally bump into you. See, based on what I gathered from her little experience, it seems like that might have been the case. She probably wasn't giving people enough space, and so people were like, okay, weirdo, and then they bumped into her, you know what I mean? Because again, if most of your experiences are net negative and they're the same net negative experience, you might be doing something to invoke that type of reaction from people. I've been walking, not looking where I'm going. This isn't about culture. This is about her seeking attention or whatnot. If I'm not watching where I'm going and I bump into someone, it's not the problem of the other person. If I'm driving and I hit someone because I wasn't paying attention, it's not the fault of the other driver. Same logic applies to walking. I expect the other person to have the slightest amount of decency of being able to walk straight or if he is crossing my path, wait until I pass. Now, I believe this would have been an entirely different situation if this was one person that bumped into her and she just had a real nasty experience and what have you. And, you know, she painted where this whole interaction took place. She also highlights that, you know, a bunch of other people walked right past. I walked past a bunch of other people, but it seemed like this one person really had it out for me and checked me so hard I fell to the ground, whatever. That would have been a much different situation. She's basically alluding to the fact that almost every encounter that she has had, she's been bumped into. People don't say, excuse me, sorry, whatever, da 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 da. And I'm like, that's a little strange. That's suspicious. And it definitely must be something you're doing. Again, I want to see what you guys think about this in the comments, because I do think this is not an isolated incident, right? There are many, many, many other people who travel to other countries, but just for the sake of this video, a lot of Americans that travel to different countries throughout Europe that have bad experiences, unbeknownst to them, they are the cause of their own bad experiences, and they come back with these dramatic stories. And then if you look at how they interact in their own country, you realize they've been bringing these negative experiences on themselves. So she's walking, not looking where she's going. Of course, it's going to be someone else's fault that they bump into her. Do they know to make way for her highness? Main character syndrome. Say it with me now. Main character syndrome. And it is bad with this one. You need to move out the way when I'm walking.
Bitch, you see me walking. You see Big Mama walking, like.
I'm like, come on now. What? So you fly into a country that's not your own and you feel like you own the place and people need to treat you like you're royalty, and then complain when everybody's bumping into you because you're not paying attention.
I just been walking, not looking where I'm going, bumping into bitches.
That's like me complaining to you guys about the fact that, man, I absolutely hate European stoves. Every time I turn a stove on in Europe and I put my hand on it, I burn my hand. And you guys are like, well, stop putting your hand on a hot stove, you fucking If she did that in Britain, she'd most likely get a slap. That in certain places throughout Europe, I feel like she'd get more than just a slap. Depends on where you're at. You might want to be careful how you interact with people, because some people are not going to be tolerant of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, personal space is a big thing, and you don't give the right people personal space. Yeah, you might leave that situation feeling more uncomfortable than just walking away with a bad story. It looks like she's walking in the middle or nearly the left side of the sidewalk. So against the stream, how we say, perhaps that's the problem? Absolutely. And then something else also came to mind. I mentioned this earlier, and I'm like, this individual here pointed out that she might be walking against the direction of traffic on the sidewalk. But in my head, I'm like, what if it's even bigger than that? What if she's walking in the bike lane? You know what I mean? What if she's walking in the bike lane or something, and the people that are bumping to her are bikers? You know what I'm saying? Because I would have a similar story if I didn't understand how the bike lane thing worked. And I'm like, everybody's rude and they're yelling at me and they're bumping into me. They're not making way for my royal highness or whatever. Obviously, she's saying people are bumping into her, so they're not on bikes. She would have definitely, I don't even know. Maybe she would have said that they were bumping to her on bikes or something if that was the case. But it does seem undoubtedly she's the cause of her own demise. Why do these entitled American simpletons think that Europe is a country? Have you seen our education system recently? We were told as kids, if everybody takes a half step to the right, everybody can pass. I'm German. Maybe she isn't paying the respects. The verdict's in. She's definitely guilty of not giving people the space they need to move around her, and definitely not paying attention to where she's going. She's made that very clear. Self-admission.
I just been walking, not looking where I'm going, bumping into bitches.
She dry snitched on herself. This is a problem that solves itself, clearly, because she's going to continue having bad experiences if she continues behaving the way she does. We don't move out of the way for a person here. We all move out of the way for each other. It's called being considerate. Try it. Not once does it seem like she had the audacity to create space for other people. If you listen to how she told the story, it was like, yeah, they're not getting out of my way when I'm walking. You need to move around when I'm walking, huh? Do you know how basic human interactions work no matter where you are? It's not like people have to be glued to you. Now, there's some countries where, you know, the personal space is a little close, closer than others, but throughout Europe, I don't think that's the case. The audacity of this lady, right? That's what I'm saying. This is what adds to the dumb American tourist fiasco. We travel out there, we do some shit like this, post it with a clear conscience and think that we're in the right. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Get us to 1 million subscribers ASAP. I will see you very soon.